we have a massive update about a former first-round pick and his faith with the Los Angeles Lakers. It has been reported by Shams Charania of ESPN that Jalen Hood-Schifino's third-year option has been declined by the Lakers front office as he will become an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season into the summer. And wow, crazy. After 2 years, it seems like the Lakers are already giving up on a former first-round pick. So we're going to talk about it here on Lakers Digest. If you're new to the channel, my name is Hunter Pitcoff, and please subscribe if you haven't already, because looking at our data right here, a quarter of you guys who watch the videos are subscribed. So shout out to you guys. You're awesome. But the other ones who have been watching our videos. So if you're not new to the channel and you've been watching all of our videos, 3/4 of you aren't even subscribed. So stop what you're doing right now. You're so close to getting your platinum status. So just hit the subscribe button. Keep up with us. Keep up to date with everything surrounding your Los Angeles Lakers. And today's video, we will be talking about the moves that the Lakers are making in regards to rookie or second-year player Jalen Hood-Schifino. And it seems like he is on a ticking clock when it comes to him and his prospects with this team. So this is what Shams Charania said, that the Lakers declining his option. It's worth $4 million next season. So, of course, it's going to make him a free agent. He's, 6'5" combo guard, and it helps the Lakers get some roster flexibility in terms of the cap, because the Lakers would be set to be starting off over the cap starting next offseason. 17th pick in last year's 2023 draft. Has only really averaged 1.5 points in 21 games. So Jalen Hood-Schifino, it's been a bit of a rocky road for him. Not referring to the ice cream flavor, but let's talk about why the Lakers are declining his option. So I think the main reason is going to be two things. One, the salary cap, right? We've seen a lot of NBA teams make some very difficult decisions in regards to, letting go of certain players that they probably would not have let go of otherwise. And so Jalen Hood-Schifino has become a cap casualty. So that's one reason. The second reason, guys, is he just flat out stunk. He's not a good basketball player right now in terms of NBA standards. This was a guy who the Lakers took with the 17th overall pick in 2023. The guys they took after, this is a really, really bad miss for the Lakers. Normally, Jesse Buss and that scouting department, and maybe they weren't in favor of drafting JHS, but they normally be hitting on a lot of these first-round picks. Even if they end up leaving the Lakers and having good careers elsewhere, they normally do hit on their draft picks. The three players taken after Jalen Hood-Schifino, though: Jaime Jaquez for the Miami Heat, Brandon Podziemski for the Golden State Warriors, and then Cam Whitmore for the Houston Rockets. Jaquez and Podziemski were both first-team all-rookie last season. And Cam Whitmore, who was viewed as a top 5, top 10 player in that draft, ended up falling to the Lakers at 17. Not only were these players all so much better than Jalen Hood-Schifino, all of them fit positions of need for the Lakers right now. You're telling me the Lakers couldn't use a guy like Jaime Jaquez? Not only was he a standout star at UCLA. This man was born and raised in California and grew up a massive Laker fan, a massive Kobe fan. It just seemed like it made so much sense. He's a do-it-all player on the Heat, so much experience in college, a winner in college, has great size, can handle the ball, good athlete, shoots, plays defense, rebounds, and we've seen him thrive in Miami. Brandon Podziemski, also Santa Clara, so another California kid. He ends up being a awesome player for the Golden State Warriors. I think he led the NBA in charges taken last season. So almost like your Alex Caruso archetype for the Lakers, and Laker fans, including me, still think about maybe at least once a week how Alex Caruso is no longer a Laker, and it makes me very sad and very, very upset. But Brandon Podziemski, they had a chance to take their next Alex Caruso, quote-unquote. He's a phenomenal rebounder. He shoots threes, plays defense, and he's just a dog. Someone that the Lakers could have used in their backcourt as a defensive-minded guard with size and some solid athleticism and rebounding ability. And he's a great offensive rebounder, too, as a guard. So that's something the Lakers have struggled with the past year. And then Cam Whitmore, who was he wasn't a one-and-done, but more a raw prospect like a Jalen Hood-Schifino, but he was someone who had great three-point potential, extremely good athlete, and he's an absolute dog who gets after it, too, and has that size to be, a legitimate wing that the Lakers could have used. So these are three guys that were better players than Jalen Hood-Schifino in college. Three guys who were better prospects than Jalen Hood-Schifino in college. And three guys who the Lakers bypassed. And the Lakers even said on draft night that they viewed, and Rob Pelinka said this, that they viewed Jalen Hood-Schifino as a lottery-level talent that they got at 17th overall. And to put in perspective, guys, their 17th pick this past draft was Dalton Knecht, who recently just scored a season high and I guess career high, 18 points in that game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was an ugly game, but it was really good at least to see your rookie shine. And Bronny, shout out to him, also getting his first points of his career as well, especially in Cleveland where, you know, he was essentially born and raised, which that's a pretty cool moment for him as well. But it also shows you, too, with the Lakers. They opted to keep Bronny on the active roster until the start of the G League season compared to Jalen Hood-Schifino, who was a first-round pick for them. And Bronny, who people are calling a celebrity pick and stuff, they picked him instead of Jalen Hood-Schifino, who was a first-round pick. This should have been a season for him to really step up into that new role and be a lead guard. You even saw last year the Lakers signing Spencer Dinwiddie, who was my comp for Jalen Hood-Schifino coming out of Indiana. That's who I thought he could have ended up being. And yet they signed a guy who I guess it was his, his predecessor, if you will, or, it was Unk version of Jalen Hood-Schifino, and ends up being in the rotation, right? So Jalen Hood-Schifino just never showed you anything. Injuries didn't help his case either. And Rob Pelinka is pulling the trigger, making the decision that Jalen Hood-Schifino is not going to be a part of the Lakers' future. So I guess that does bring us to our final point here, and maybe I showed my cards a little bit. There's some options they have, right? They can keep him and let him walk in free agency. They can keep him and re-sign him to a cheaper deal. That is also a possibility for the Lakers. Or, which I think is going to happen, is they're going to end up using him as a trade piece because now he's on an expiring deal. He's still only, I believe, 21 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if that graphic shows it because I did not look this up off the top of my head, guys. Yes, he's 21 years old. I knew that. So he's still a young player, still does have potential. He has really good size for a guard. He's really good in the pick and roll, but that was just something that his skill set, and I don't know how Rob Pelinka didn't see this. Maybe it's good that JJ Redick's there to talk some reasoning like, hey, let's draft Dalton Knecht this year, right? He wasn't there in 2023, Redick. So he was the voice of reason perhaps in 24 to draft, the guy who should have went 7+ picks higher in Dalton Knecht. And they had the chance to get that guy in Cam Whitmore. They even had a chance to get more veteran guys who, were first-team all-rookie in Jaime Jaquez and Brandon Podziemski for playoff caliber teams as well in the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors. So this was a flat-out bust pick for the Lakers. There's no way to put it otherwise. I don't see him succeeding here. Perhaps he can go somewhere else and succeed, but this was a flat-out miss. The signs were there to begin with. When you are a guard who can't shoot the basketball, to me, that's an ultimate red flag, especially in today's NBA, if you can't shoot. But what else can you rely on if you're not a great shooter? Because there are guards in the NBA, like a John Morant, a Russell Westbrook in years past, John Wall, who they're extremely athletic. So if you're not a great shooter, you better be extremely athletic. Jalen Hood-Schifino is not a great shooter, and he is not athletic. So those are two traits that, for a guard, if you don't have either of those, you're probably not going to be an NBA player. And that's what I saw from Jalen Hood-Schifino coming out of Indiana. And I think he's better suited for a team where he can be a pick-and-roll ball handler, which is what he's good at. But we really have seen next to nothing. Guys like LeBron James and Quincy Oliveri, a second-round and undrafted free agent, have shown more upside than Jalen Hood-Schifino has. But the Lakers have shown their cards. It looks like they're heading elsewhere. And perhaps they'll use him as a trade piece, or maybe they have something in motion right now that will require and make it easier to facilitate a trade with Jalen Hood-Schifino going elsewhere. So thank you all for listening to Lakers Digest here. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below as well what you think about the Lakers declining Jalen Hood-Schifino's third-year option, making him a free agent this upcoming summer, what his future holds with the Los Angeles Lakers. A game tomorrow night against the Detroit Pistons. They're going to have to clean it up after 2 straight losses to the Phoenix Suns and the Cleveland Cavaliers. 2 bad losses in my opinion. And then they finish off this 5-game road trip with the Toronto Raptors and the Memphis Grizzlies. I said they need to go 3-2 on this road trip, so they still can do that. And then they'll be 6-2 after 8 games, which will be more than good enough for the Lakers to start off this year. But again, we'll keep you up to date with everything here on Lakers Digest.